again. It happened again. The left's infatuation with violence and assassination culture was yet again on full, shocking display for all the world to see this weekend. Gunshots ringing out just feet away from where President Trump and the First Lady sat, along with every member of the chain of command from the vice president down. And the more we learn about the man behind the gun, the more disturbing this story gets. This was not random. This was not a loner who snapped. This was organized. This was deliberate. And it was soaked in years of carefully cultivated, media-fed, left-wing revolutionary rage. Make sure to stick with me to the very end of this video, because we're about to find out what was really behind this latest assassination attempt and what can finally be done to crush it once and for all. You're not going to want to miss this. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you make sense of the madness. With breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else, so you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Also, if you're looking for deeper access to me beyond YouTube, then join our Courageous Patriots Club for members-only content and exclusive updates. Scan the QR code or grab the link in the pinned comments. I look forward to seeing you there. So, as you all know, this weekend we witnessed another assassination attempt on President Trump's life at the White House Correspondents' Dinner at the Washington Hilton in D.C. The suspected shooter has been identified as Cole Thomas Allen from California. He reportedly checked into the Washington Hilton as a guest the day before the event. Astonishingly, nobody checked his luggage when he checked in on Friday afternoon, even though the hotel knew that the President of the United States would be there the next day. Nevertheless, Allen assembled his weapons in his room before making his move. He had a 12-gauge shotgun, a semi-automatic handgun, and multiple knives. Allen then burst out of a stairwell or side corridor, sprinted down a hallway toward the security perimeter, separating the public areas from the ballroom, and he opened fire on the Secret Service agents standing between him and the president, wounding one agent who was saved only by his bulletproof vest. Trump, Melania, JD, the entire cabinet, they were all evacuated from the ballroom just in time while Allen was tackled and taken into custody on the scene. Now, unfortunately, as I'm sure you've surmised once again, we are once again getting very concerning reports about the state of security surrounding President Trump. And it's just absolutely inexcusable. Fox News reporter Bill Melugin was at the Washington Hilton Saturday night, and what he witnessed about the security setup should make every American's blood boil. Melugin described his experience walking to the hotel step by step. Outside on the street, a man in a suit glanced at his ticket and just waved him right in. No ID check, no name verification against any list, no pat down, no metal detector. He said he could have flashed a ticket from a prior year or a fake one and still walked right in. And then from there, he walked directly into the hotel with zero further security screening, past packed pre-party ballrooms, past hundreds of attendees, past multiple rooms where a person with explosives in their shoes or jacket would have had absolutely no problem getting in. Only when attendees reached the entrance to the main ballroom itself, the room where Trump and the entire line of succession were seated, only then did any serious security appear. Magnetometers, empty your pockets, pat downs, but that's it. One single checkpoint right outside the dinner room. So two things are true here. The Secret Service responded absolutely heroically once the threat was identified. But the fact that a man with a shotgun, a handgun, and multiple knives got that close to the president is absolutely inexcusable. This is inexcusable, systematic security failure. And heads absolutely need to roll. Now, what we're learning about Cole Allen is, frankly, even more concerning. So on paper, he's about as clean as it gets. He's a 31-year-old Caltech-educated mechanical engineer. He's a computer science master's student. He's a developer of indie video games on Stream, and he was even awarded Teacher of the Month at C2 Education, a national tutoring chain where he worked one-on-one with children and teenagers. That's the guy who strapped on a shotgun, a handgun, and multiple knives and opened fire on Secret Service agents. No criminal record, no prior flags. Just a quiet guy on the block who rode a blue scooter and lived with his parents' house in Torrance, California. So what on earth happened? This is where the story gets chilling. Alan's sister, who lives in Rockville, Maryland, told investigators that Alan had a history of making radical statements, politically radical statements, and that he had mentioned that he was going to, quote, do something about the world's problems very soon. And he even admitted to his sister that he had purchased weapons, legally purchased weapons, stored at their parents' home without their knowledge. He then traveled cross-country by way of Amtrak from California to Chicago, then from Chicago to D.C., with those weapons. Now, we're going to have to find out how he was able to actually pass any kind of security screening and so forth with weapons like that, regardless. And now we're getting a firsthand account of those radical statements that his sister alluded to. We've got what investigators are calling his manifesto, where Cole signs off as Cole-friendly federal assassin Allen. He laid out a ranked hit list of Trump administration officials by priority. He cold-bloodedly warned that Secret Service agents might be shot in the process, writing, quote, I hope they're wearing body armor because center mass with shotguns messes up people who aren't. But here's what the legacy media won't tell you. Allen actually weaponized Christianity to justify this assassination attempt. He anticipated the biblical objection of turn the other cheek, and he rebutted it in writing, arguing that failing to act against Trump was complicity in the oppressor's crimes. That's cultural Marxist language. It's his own version of silence is compliance. He countered yield unto Caesar by claiming Trump's alleged law-breaking avoided any biblical duty to submit to authority. And on social media, he labeled Trump supporters worshipers of the Antichrist, and he mocked Vice President J.D. Vance's Catholic faith. So once again, we have to ask this question. What happened to this guy? How did he suddenly turn into this cultural Marxist lunatic who believes that violence against oppressors is not only justified, but morally obligatory? What turned a seemingly ordinary man into a stark, raving lunatic? I think you know the answer. But first, did you know that U.S. life expectancy peaked at 78 years back in 2014? And global life expectancy is declining for the first time in 30 years because people are aging faster than ever before. And that's largely due to more toxins in the air, chemicals in our soil and food, and other external factors that are new to us. What most people don't know is that we can actually fight aging on a cellular level. Scientists have discovered that kimchi actually slows the aging process of human cells, helping to protect them and delay aging. The power of nature can outweigh the power of pharmaceuticals without the nasty side effects. And now you can get all the benefits of kimchi in a simple capsule with Kimchi One. I take Kimchi One every single day. I absolutely love it. Each capsule delivers over 900 probiotic strains plus antioxidants and enzymes that support your digestion, metabolism, and skin health from the inside out. As we age, we become more susceptible to microbial threats, harmful viruses and bacteria. But the beauty is that Kimchi One is a natural antimicrobial, helping your body fight off harmful bacteria, viruses, and even toxins while boosting immunity and energy. Best of all, Kimchi One is 100% made in America. It's all natural and non-GMO. So do what I do. Support your gut, protect your cells, and feel younger every single day with Kimchi 1 from Brightcore. Today, you can get an exclusive offer by clicking the link below. Just use code TURLEY for 25% off your entire order, or for an even better deal, give them a call. My friends at Brightcore would love to chat with you. They're going to give you up to 50% off if you call them, and they'll even give you free shipping. How's that? Give them a call right now at 888-597-0233. Remember, if you call them, you get 50% off plus free shipping. That's 888-597-0233.
Let me ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
This is what kicking the shit out of fascism looks like.
Try to prevent the spread of the lawlessness and the fascist chaos that's been unleashed against us.
So when we say Donald Trump is a fascist, fascism, a huge component of fascism, is uniting racism, bigotry, a form of racist nationalism.
We are now living in a fascist dictatorship.
We are worried about potential rise of fascism in this country. We're worried about our democracy falling to an authoritarian and potentially fascist form of government.
Not only to roll over to Donald Trump's will, but to roll over our democracy and allow him to take over this country as a fascist dictator.
When fascism isn't just coming, it's already here.
The former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, said, "No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core."
What you just watched isn't fringe. That's not from some dark corner of the internet. That's the modern day Democrat Party. That's CNN. That's MSNBC. That's sitting United States senators and House members, people with press credentials, blue check marks, and primetime slots. And they've been saying some version of that every single day, 24/7, for 10 years straight. What we witnessed over the weekend is the logical endpoint of a political culture that has spent a decade telling its followers that the other side is not just wrong, they are evil. They're not misguided. They're not misled. They are existentially dangerous, fatal to our republic. They're not your political opponents. They are your enemies. They are fascists. They are racists. They are an existential threat to democracy itself. And if they remain in power, everything you love will be erased. That's precisely the rhetoric we're hearing in the lead up, that we were hearing in the lead up to the correspondents' dinner with 250 so-called journalists calling for Trump to be held to account for his unprecedented assault on the Constitution. Dan Rather was one of them. Can you believe it? A guy who was fired after he was caught lying, fabricating news. And so when you marinate a generation in that rhetoric, we shouldn't be surprised when some of them decide that violence isn't just acceptable, it's actually righteous. It's actually morally obligatory. Silence is compliance. That's exactly what Cole Allen said in his manifesto. Silence in the face of oppressive evil is effectively compliance with that oppressive evil. There was a recent study from Rutgers University that showed just how far this sentiment of justified violence against political opponents has seeped into the political left. The Rutgers University study asked respondents if it was ever justifiable to assassinate President Trump. And the results were chilling. The survey found that 55% of left-leaning respondents agreed that it would be at least somewhat justifiable to assassinate President Trump. 55%. A majority of the political left in our nation is pro-assassination. That's not a political party anymore. That's a bona fide terrorist organization. That's a terrorist movement that has overtly legitimized violence as a political weapon, as a weapon for political ends. And we saw those vicious terrorist sentiments on full display, particularly in the aftermath following Charlie Kirk's assassination, with all the overt macabre, sick celebrations surrounding his murder. Again, let that hit you. It's not just that he was murdered. It's that murder, that gruesome death was celebrated. And they were celebrating it because the left has embraced assassination culture. Trump is just symbolic of the demonization of the political right as a whole. And here's the question that nobody in that ballroom on Saturday night is going to ask. At what point does this leftist rhetoric actually become the weapon? At what point does the media admit that what Cole Allen attempted to do is exactly what all of that fascist rhetoric intentionally inspires? The legacy media will never ask that question. They will never admit that because the legacy media is the primary transmitter of that very rhetoric. Because so much of the legacy media actually shares in those far left sentiments, they're never, ever going to admit to a connection between the violent rhetoric and violent acts, precisely because they are the purveyors of that very rhetoric. So what does all this mean? Well, simply put, the political debate is over. I mean, I think it's been over for some time, but I think we now all recognize, everyone recognizes that the political debate is, I don't know why Trump wasted his time with 60 Minutes last night. I don't understand those moves he makes. He obviously knows something I don't. The political debate is over. Trump now is going to have to crush this. He's going to have to use all the tools at his disposal, executive orders, focusing the entire federal agency enforcement infrastructure, the FBI, the CIA, Secret Service, every federal department, all pointed squarely at the ideological and financial networks the administration holds responsible for producing would-be killers like Cole Allen. That is what we voted for. We voted for the full force of the executive branch to crush these left-wing lunatics before they destroy our country. We've got the power. We just need the will to use it. That is what we'll be watching for in the days and weeks ahead. Get up to speed every morning in under 5 minutes. Patriot Alerts, free, daily, no fluff. Visit the link below and sign up right now.